All right, here we go.
Here we
We're
go.
live,
Yeah.
guys. Welcome to All Roads Lead to ETHRome, episode 4 of this journey that is leading us to our first Web3 hackathon in the Eternal City. I'm Limone, you already know me. With me, there's Federico Drun from Hurbe and ETHRome as well. And we also have a special guest today, Adrian from Sismo. Before going into some introductions, because of course, you don't know Adrian, but I think that even you, Federico, you've never been in our live stream channel. So good time to intro you as well. But first of all, I wanted to introduce this series. We are, of course, organizing the first Web3 hackathon in Rome about governance and privacy, happening in October from 6 to 8. And this live stream series, we are doing it, to involve our sponsors, partners, community, and friends, so that they can share, their experiences, their knowledge, more about what they're building, and hopefully some tips and tricks for hackers to use during the hackathon. And today with us, there's Adrian from Sismo again, which is a project that I really love, and I used it in one of my latest hackathon in Paris, actually. But yeah, let's start with some introduction. Maybe you can start, Fede, and then Adrian can go.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Drone, Federico, OX Drone, on Twitter. And so, yeah, I'm the Italian guy in Rome. Together with Limone and the other amazing guys are preparing ETHRome. That will be the hackathon on between 6 and 8 of October. And so I'm more like a finance guy, really into the math of DeFi protocols, and I'm graduating in finance, and my thesis will be related to the design and analysis of constant function market makers. And so, yeah, talking about mysterious stuff in in the DeFi ecosystem, and I'm an avid follower of MEV related research, because it's as was a presentation of mine. It was like the heaven and the hell of Ethereum and blockchain ecosystems for the consensus mechanism, but uneven for arbitrators, And so, yeah, I will be I'm really excited to have Adrian here, and maybe I can pass the ball to Adrian so he can introduce himself and Sismo protocol, because it's super cool.
Yeah, thank you, Limone and Fede, and the entire ETHRome crew for this. It's going to be an exciting event. And I'm French, but I use a lot of my hands too, so I'm going to put them out.
Alf Italia.
In Sismo team, everybody tells me that. Why are you using so much your hands? So anyway, so yeah, I'm Adrian. I'm the founder of Sismo. What we are doing is using ZK, and more precisely making ZK available for devs in a very simple manner. So Sismo abstract away ZK proofs so that as a dev, you can request ZK proofs from your users and verify it anywhere in your smart contract or backend. So it really looks like in most applications today built on top of Ethereum or other blockchains, from a wallet you can request a signature that is often used to authenticate your wallet. And in this flow, you request a signature from users, you have a pop-up in your wallet, and then you verify the signature, whether in the backend or in a smart contract, like EIP 712. And so Sismo is really the same in the end, but this time, instead of requesting a signature, you request a ZK proof directly, and ZK proof of NFT ownership, of voting in some DAO, of GitHub contributions, of being part of Telegram group. So yeah, the goal of this is that apps are used to request authentication of full accounts from users, like connect with Google, sign in with Ethereum, all these things. And with ZK proofs, you can actually be more granular and request exactly the data that you want. So, hey, just give me the proof that you have an NFT, but don't give me your full wallet. And I think we'll get to that later, I guess. But privacy also enables aggregation. You can request data from many different types of accounts, and that's where it's even more exciting. It's not just a privacy layer, but yeah, it empowers the apps. So yeah.
Yeah. Really, thank you for the introduction. Like before going deep down, more like deep down into Sismo and maybe how it works, or how people can integrate that in their app. And I think I tried it in the past again in Paris and was an amazing experience. But I wanted like to know from you if you have any I don't know back behind the scenes story of how it started, why you started Sismo, if there's something I don't know, some personal stories behind it, or if just was a cool idea that you had. I'd love to know more about the story of Sismo.
Yeah, so actually, I've been in the space for quite some time. I started developing on Ethereum before it was released, and at that time, so was part of Consensus, worked on the stablecoin project, so a decentralized one, a la Maker. It was called Variable, because at that time we knew that like to make blockchain application really useful, you need to have some sort of stable value to enable some things. So I worked on the DeFi, but I have always been super interested into ID, because in the end, I think that when you think about blockchains, but generally about cryptography, this public key cryptography, the ability to sign things, what's crazy is that now users can have their accounts. And so in the blockchain, in Bitcoin, it's your Bitcoin account. In Ethereum, it's a bit more complex. It's your Ethereum accounts, and that allows you to access like many apps, like DeFi apps, ENS apps, voting apps. And so that was always the plan, I think, for all people that are in there, is to empower user with more sovereignty. And so this idea of identity, I've always been passionate about this. Like, uh, how can we allow users to just be custodial of all their data? Um, so fast forward to 2020, like 2 years ago, I was working at Aave, and it was the bull market. And then I saw that for the first time ever, we had so many data. So again, DAO votes, NFTs, DeFi, all these things. Uh, Similarly, at the same time, you had the first apps using ZK in production. You can think about Tornado Cash, Semaphore, these kind of things. And you had this NFT standard that was started to be widely used. And if you think about identity, uh, what it was the first time that people has both sovereign accounts, wallets, with some valuable data, a way to prove something about the data, and then a way to share them, to a standard to share them, NFT. And so we started with ZK badges. Sismo, the first thing that we launched is the ZK badge. So it's a NFT that is non-transferable, also called soulbound tokens. And so the very basic idea was, okay, let's say that I have a non NFT. I want to prove to someone that I have it. And the way we did that in the beginning is, okay, I'm going to mint a ZK badge of non-NFT ownership. And a bit like Tornado Cash for data, I was able to prove from a source wallet that I have a non-NFT, and then I received the ZK badge on another wallet. A bit like in Tornado, you deposit in an address and then you get back on another. So that's the genesis of Sismo. Is like basically we thought that timing was right to work on these things, and we are very long-term focused. And we know that we could start with educating around these ZK badges and stuff, and you'll see that now Sismo has become more than that. But yeah, that's the very story. But
Wow, well, yeah, I always love, I was like before getting into Web3, I was already into startups, and I always enjoyed, reading about stories about how everything started. So I'm always interested in knowing stories from founders and what like brought you here with us today. So really, really nice. But yeah, let's get into it. I mean, we've been chatting a lot on Twitter as well about privacy and social apps, and I'm wondering, what's your take, like what do you think, or how do you think that privacy is an enabler for social apps, especially like given the context in which we are today, with all these centralized giants which like control your data and all these things. and there's always, the trade-off between maybe privacy and user experience. So what's your take, first of all, on like what privacy is enabling or unlocking in the current landscape?
Yeah, I think that so first I think that we talked about the fact that users don't care about privacy, they care about UX. And I was trying to make the point that privacy actually increases UX, even if you have the feeling that it's always win-lose situation, it's actually a win-win. So to explain this a bit more, maybe I like to talk about how we've been raised with. We've been raised with big central parties everywhere, especially social networks. And they were initially in charge of connecting strangers. Like on Facebook, the core value in the end of Facebook is making sure that only your friends can see all the things that you talk about. So that's how they started as a central party that has a big value. Is like to make sure that like only my friends, verified friends, can access my data, and so that's great. And then so many things, many other apps like Uber, Airbnb, all these things, they connect strangers together and they are the trusted party. So we gave their data to them, and then when timing was to monetize, Facebook got big and Twitter and all these things, they were not making money. Then they say, okay, how to make money? Users don't want to pay, but we realized, and it was very new, that wow, data has so much value, and it's the whole ad things, the whole attention economy, and so basically, their way to make money is to get data. So that created silos, and we don't have really access to our data. They are monetizing it for us, and our privacy, in that sense, is kind of protected. It's trusted, but it's protected de facto by these things. Meaning that since Facebook is making money out of their data, you know that they're going to make everything so that their data never leaves their servers. If there's a breach, their entire business model is done, basically, on top of reputation and stuff like that. So users don't care about privacy against these very trusted parties that, okay, government have access to their database, but in the end, you'll never be in a situation where your party pictures of when you were young going to be in the heads of your employers because your privacy cannot protect you. Now Web3, what's great, and of course the issue of this, that it's not your data, you cannot move from Facebook. You have to create an account in their system to access their things, and the data that you create there, your history and stuff, is theirs. It's not yours. So at any point they can delete your thing. I think it's the Web3 thesis. It's really, okay, you own your data and you bring it to an app. That's, in my opinion, how to define Web2 against Web3. Web2, you go to them and you build your data there. Web3, you own your accounts and you go through apps to access your data in some way. Like when you have an asset, a token on your wallet, you can go to Uniswap, to Aave, to anything, and you will always see your token. So it's your data that you bring to their interface. Anyway, so it's a long, but all this to say that now we have data that is ours. And so now it's like you have your DeFi data, your ENS data, your very private data, like your assets. And for the first time, we are able to use them at once since it's ours. But it's the lack of privacy that makes us manage multiple wallets and segregate our way of using our data. I mean that most advanced users that have been here for a long time, usually they have one wallet per app. And so we are recreating our habits. We've been raised with this to silo things. I have my account, my ENS account for public things. I have my private wallet for things. I have my weird shitposting account maybe for doing all other things. And there's the opportunity to merge them, actually. Like there's an opportunity to say, hey, actually, I'm solvable. I have more than $10K on chain. And at the same time, I'm a big DAO delegate. And this with ZK proofs and Sismo, you can do this. You can prove from a private wallet, hey, I have $10K somewhere. And from another wallet, hey, I'm a big delegate of ENS. And I can bring this to an app. And more interestingly, app developers can access this data. So for the first time ever, you can build apps that are cross social graphs where users don't want to merge their social graphs. If you think about it, it's really mimicking the physical world, the human world. When you go to a new context, you meet a new friend, you pick a bit of your professional life and you say, hey, I'm doing this, but you really choose what you reveal. Pick a bit about I did a party with this guy, do you know him? So you really pick precisely what you want to bring from your social graphs, but you would never want to to merge them. You don't want that your parties and your coworkers are there, or you don't want to reveal everything. So I like to take this example to say that in Web 2, it's just impossible to, if Web 2 was a physical world, you meet a new person, you can't get data out of their server, so you can't tell about your party. Like your picture is stored on Facebook, you can't share it and something else. In Web 3, it's a bit the reverse. It's like, okay, you own all your data, but if you tell them about about a party, you need to tell them about everything that you do with this group.
Everything else, yeah.
Because in Web3, you bring your entire wallet. So if you just want to prove, hey, I have some Aave tokens, no, you're giving your entire wallet. That's what it does today. And so Sismo is really, okay, I have all this data and I reveal this from this account, that from that account, and I bring exactly the data that I want. And so we're making this feature for users available for app developers, trying to make it as easy as possible to pick the data that you want. So yeah, that's why privacy is an enabler to do aggregation that we never seen before. And for this, privacy matters, and it matters, but it doesn't matter. You don't need to sell it to users. Just sell it, hey, you can go to an app and be yourself without doxing yourself in public. So yeah, that's the
Yeah. No, it's really interesting to me to see how the public state of the blockchain, which is important for transparency and allows a lot of things to work in the blockchain ecosystem, in Web3 in general, how it's interesting to see how this public state can be somehow merged with some sort of private state, thank you to zero knowledge proofs, and with Sismo, for the first time, I'm really seeing how these two things can exist together, and now you can benefit from both, because of course Sismo can work because everything that is on chain is transparent, so you're able to allow people creating these credentials and these vaults for them, and then they on their side can decide what to reveal. So that's really amazing. Fede, do you have any I don't know, any questions for Adrian or something to add on this?
Yeah, first of all, I would say that Sismo protocol is extremely important because, as you said, Web3 created the opportunity of being truly owners of data, and this kind of ownership, in my opinion, is also exercised in disposing of the privacy of that data. And so I think that what you guys are doing is great. And so yeah, without maybe getting too technical, I will ask you what is the generation, the process of generating and disposing of these data vaults that are created via your platform? Technically speaking, or maybe not technically, you will see. What is the core process that is performed?
Yeah, so generally, I think the current way, it's the same in Tornado Cash in Semaphore. You've seen the paper of privacy pools that was released maybe by Amin, Vitalik.
Yesterday.
Yeah, so generally what is quite easy, the scheme today to do ZK proofs of these sort of things is in a ZK environment, so in a circuit, you will prove some computation that is private. And the kind of computation that you want to do is verify ownership of an account. Like I own daydream.eth, and then I prove that daydream.eth is part of a specific group, let's say the ENS delegates. And you want to do this in a ZK, and you will generate a ZK proof that just proves these facts. Someone has an account, and the account they prove ownership of is part of that group. And that's what creates the privacy in Tornado Cash. That's what this, I deposit, and then I create a ZK proof that I own an account that is part of the depositors. So that's the general idea. You have this notion of groups, and and you prove membership in them. And you might think that it's a bit restrictive, but in the end, if you think about it, when you think about reputation and identity, when I say that you have blue eyes, the group doesn't exist, but in the end, what I'm saying is that you are part of the people that have blue eyes. And there's an anonymity set that is linked to that. Yeah, if I just tell you, hey, I have blue eyes, I'm part of the several millions that have the same property, and I'm private. So that's the things. And so trying to prove some property about yourself that has an anonymity set enough, big enough, so that you're not doxing yourself, basically. So yeah, that's the main way it works. Then the data vault. So Sismo works with the data vault, and you have to import your accounts in the data vault to generate the ZK proofs. That's because today, what I described, proving ownership of an account in a ZK is not easy to do because of tech constraints. The cryptography used by ETHRome is not compatible with ZK. So when you are importing an account in a data vault, what you are doing is like ZKifying your account. So when you import data.eth into the Sismo data vault, that's off-chain. It's just actually signing a message that is cryptographic. And so when you import in the data vault, it's completely off-chain, it's encrypted, and it's just like you store your seed, your Sismo seed, into an encrypted server. And then you will be able to use it to generate ZK proof of ownership of your data.eth. So I import in my data vault all my 20 wallets, some super private, some super public. Only me can see the aggregated view. I can also import in the same way a Twitter account and GitHub account. This uses a trusted thing where you are proving ownership to a trusted party that you own this account, and then you associate a secret with it. And then in the ZK proof, you will prove knowledge of this secret to prove ownership of the Twitter account. So that's technical, but that's it. High level, you import many accounts in your data vault. You have some secrets related to ZK. And then whenever somebody requests it, you can ZK prove, hey, I own this Twitter, and this Twitter is part of the 10K influencers in ETHRome. So what I prove to you is just, hey, I'm an influencer.
Nice,
So
nice. Yeah. Taking a step back from the deck, I wanted to know if you see like this, Sismo Connect and proving, credentials. Of course, it can be used to, give people access, or somehow creating some sort of token gating to content application, whatever. Do you see this thing as, I won't say as a like a replacement of like single sign-on, but something that maybe improves like single sign-on by like with Google, single sign-on with I don't know, with LinkedIn or whatever else? Is this like a direction for Sismo?
So what I like to say, like about the general vision, we know that we want to what we want to be is to enable. So for now, let's talk about just the Web3 niche. Today, in an app, you can request a signature to your wallet, or you can request a transaction. That's the only two things that you can request today. And so when you click on a button on a decentralized app today, you have or MetaMask pop-up or any wallet pop-up to sign a message, or a pop-up to send a transaction. What we'd love to do with Sismo is that app developers can request data. And ZK proof, in the end, it doesn't matter that much on the long term. Just, hey, as an app developer, I want to prove me that you have a credit score higher than 100. And then that's our role, is to route your request into the wallet that will understand what ZK proof to create. And then a bit like you verify a signature, you will verify the ZK proof. So that's the kind of level that we want to help with. Is very low level. Is to basically be a bridge between your personal data and the app. And so the end goal, of course, would be to either have our own wallet, but more likely be integrated in like Coinbase wallets and all these things, so that as an app, you can request to Coinbase wallet, hey, prove me that you voted on the ENS DAO, and that's done.
Yeah.
That's the vision.
Okay. Yeah. I see that before going into more technical stuff, I know that Fede, you have like some great questions to ask. I see that there is one question from the audience on YouTube. There's Frank that is asking, what is the Sismo revenue model right now, and how do you see it changing in the future, if so?
Yeah, so we are quite lucky for now to have some funds to do research. No, but generally what we know is that we are tackling a big problem. So we didn't focus yet on monetizing. What we know though is that if we are doing a good job, you'll have apps that will benefit from that, benefit from all the infrastructure that we make, so that you can easily request any data. And I think that if we do a good job of it, if as an app developer you can request some very nerdy thing like prove me that you are a millionaire, give me your credit score, prove me that you are human, prove me that you did a KYC, apps will be interested for this service. And since we are as a public good or decentralized thing, in the end, when you do this, okay, you benefit from the infrastructure of Sismo. So you'll have to, as an app, you'll have to pay a bit. I don't know, like your Versal, when you pay Versal for the infra. And on top of that, we'd like to create an incentivization mechanism so that data creators, you consume data from people. So for instance, you have World ID, right? And in Sismo Data Vault, soon you'll be able to ZK prove that you were World ID verified. And if all apps consume this, request this from Sismo, then we need to find a way to give the value back to the data creators that are. Similarly with Gitcoin Passport, today you can request a ZK proof, hey, you have a Gitcoin Passport higher than 20. If Gitcoin Passport is used by many apps, we'll forward the in some way, whether tokenomics or more classical models, we need to forward this to Gitcoin Passport. So that's the thing. We are a bit of a market between data creators, people that are creating those groups, people that are creating ZK scheme on top of this. Let's say that tomorrow there's a new ZK scheme that allows you to verify a HTTP request. And then now you can ZK proof with a API call to Twitter that you have more than 10K followers. The person that, like the entity that has created this ZK scheme should also benefit from this. So that's what we're trying to do. But we are well aware that what we are doing is quite hard. And first, if we manage to create value and for developers and that they love it, then it will be obvious, because I think we're working on a very hard problem.
Yeah, that makes total sense, and focusing on research and on the problem first. I think in the end, I see like really the problem that you're trying to solve, and I feel it. So I'm sure I can say that it's something meaningful, and hopefully like in the future it will allow like you to even accrue some value so that it can be a sustainable thing. That I think it might happen in the future. But yeah, Fede, do you have any questions for Adrian?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it's not that technical as a question, but like I'm seeing data vaults more like as a safe deposit box of data, which could be stored off chain, right? So there's not any third party which is actively handling your personal data out there. And so I was wondering, like, do you see any regulatory threat behind this, or any regulatory opportunity at the same time? Because of course, like, suppose that I'm a social platform, right? And maybe because of the improvement of UX, I need to take some information, public or private, of your person. Maybe if I have a zero-knowledge proof of that information, I can tackle the problem of handling third-party data and like the GDPR stuff and things like that. So do you see any opportunity or threat behind your project in that sense?
Yeah, so just a quick thing about the infrastructure and how it works. The data vault is indeed yours. It's like a password manager, like really like it's the same kind of tech that OnePass or OnePass, not LastPass because it's buggy, but basically it's storing your secrets that enable you to do ZK proofs. And you are the only one as a user that can see this and that can see the aggregated value, aggregated things. That's very important. It's off chain. And for now, it's stored on our servers. So meaning that the thing that we could do is just remove, like if we delete our servers or our database, you lose your vault, but you can still redo it anyway. But the way we're doing things, like all infra that we provide will have a competition for it, and so other people could build a better password manager, for instance, a better vault, or could build a better way to store it. So that's also part of the previous question, like what's the business model? We think that we're going to provide the best infrastructure, but not in a blocking way, like in a way that's just we make it easy for you to host the thing anyway. And so then for regulatory things, GDPR, for instance, is a great opportunity. We've been working with projects that are doing with big, we're in France, so friends that are working for big luxury brands on supply chain, and we're in Europe too. And they have an issue is that if they tokenize their, let's say that Louis Vuitton tokenize their bag, and they want to use that to create a relationship with their users, the issue is that they are not GDPR compliant. Yeah, they can trace down the wallet and they can never forget because it's on chain. So for this kind of projects, the opportunity is really to do, So they have a proof that they bought your bag, and you give that to them, an attestation that they bought your bag. And then to communicate with you, it's them that can choose to join you, but you don't have this permanent link on chain. So there's opportunity for this. Just other thing, because it's often asked for KYC. Here it's a bit more complex because I think like the regulatory laws force regulated firms to be able to get the data if they want. So they need to store the actual data. And it's a bit the reverse of Sismo. Sismo, we don't want to store any data. Only the users has that, and only the user is able to reveal it if they want. So it's not as short. It's not as easy as GDPR, for instance.
No, I totally see that. Yeah, like I think that the big thing here is allowing people to have a sort of sync of their in disclosing personal data. So like for what regards the KYC, do you like you're saying that there could be an existential threat, like in the sense that probably Sismo as a sign-on service won't be suitable for like platforms which require KYC, or do you see any alternative path, maybe in allowing people to sign on with Sismo and then eventually like disclosing personal data, like without ZKs or stuff like that?
There's definitely a way to do that, to be honest, but it's longer term, I would say. But let's say that you are a KYC firm, let's say used by Coinbase, and so when you connect on Coinbase, you use this KYC firm to do your KYC. You could very well have this attestation from that firm in your wallet to ZK prove anywhere, hey, I'm KYC'd. And then if there's an issue, because that's where I think that's why you have the laws that they need to have the actual data. If there's an issue and government needs to see your KYC, ask the firm that used the KYC to see your documents, then you could very well share alongside your ZK proof some sort of tracer that traces down back to your actual KYC that is in the trusted firm. So there's definitely ways, like it's not an impossible problem. And just having a ZK KYC, so for instance, there's the sign-in with Coinbase that exists, and it gives us we want to put it into the vault so that you can prove that you have Coinbase accounts. Maybe it's some sort of KYC already. And just the basic fact for people that are, for apps that are not regulated but want a light KYC, I think it's already kind of usable to do these kind of things. Yeah. More for moral reasons than for, for pure regulatory. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, Limon, if we want to pass to the hackathon stuff, or you have another question.
Yeah, no, I maybe it's leaning toward some hackathon and builders vibes and stuff. I wanted to know if you have seen like so far, like what's the best use case for Sismo that you've seen built so far? Like I don't know, a social application or another type of platform, whatever that you think it's like totally maybe benefiting the most from the privacy layer that you're allowing them to add? Is there any project that comes to your mind or any use case in particular?
Yeah, I think that there was in a hackathon there was a project that was quite cool. It was it's a hackathon project, but it explained quite well what you can do with Sismo. Basically, you were able to prove your net worth, prove your Twitter following, prove your GitHub reputation too. And so you could selectively reveal this. So you connect to this app. It was like a matching app to match people between each other, a bit like a Tinder with verifiable data, some sort of this. And so you could connect, say, hey, I'm a millionaire, and I want to meet a GitHub contributor, and the Twitter, and yeah, and you could, depending on your data, you could reveal what you want, and you could merge. Hey, I have 10K in my bank account, and at the same time, I'm a big contributor to GitHub, and I have a minimal Twitter influencer. And so that was the first time that there was an app that was merging social graph that you would never do without Sismo. You would never put your bank account and your Twitter and your GitHub at the same place, right? And so that was quite interesting. Yeah, I think that what you built also, Limone, was quite interesting. To be able to join communities that was gated, but you didn't need to reveal the entire account. So if it's gated to Twitter or gated to ENS owners, you didn't need to reveal your wallet to join a room, a bubble, I think it was called.
Yeah.
You needed to dox yourself to prove that you could join this bubble. So, but yeah, many things under collateralized loans also is something that is quite interesting.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning bubbles. And there's actually an interesting question still by Frank. So we now talked about a nice use case that you've seen. Let's talk about a Sismo use case that you want to see, but nobody did yet.
Yeah, so this is since day one. Since day one, I'm not sure you will like the answer, but since day one, we built Sismo, so weird things happen that we can't imagine yet, and a bit like DeFi. I don't know if you were part of the DeFi summer or not, but it went crazy. Like it was really, we didn't expect that you would get a token and deposit it for lending, and then you get back the receipt of the deposit to provide liquidity, and then this token of liquidity, because you opened entirely the financial sector. Like before, you had the banking, you have a banking app for your saving, long-term saving, a banking app for trading, a banking app for your retirement and stuff like that. And DeFi, when it popped up, it said, hey, what you saved in your saving account, you can reuse it to trade and you can reuse it to do this. And you broke the silos of the financial bank. And by the way, that's also why this worked and didn't need privacy, because financial data, you're okay to cross. Yeah, it's not really bad to dox your saving account as long as it's pseudonymous, of course. But it's okay to dox your account that trades on Uniswap and that save on Aave. There's no privacy reason for that. And with Sismo, we hope to break the silos of social data. So some things as weird as that you can. So you're on Farcaster and you have a big followership. So you can use this data to join a private circle. And on there, you do some history. And you can reuse that with your Anon on Twitter to I don't know what. And your Uniswap data you bring it. So no concrete. I hope that would be like when I feel like Sismo has done a good job. Is like if there's an app that is crazy like that, that would be the beginning of something
Okay.
that's cool.
Yeah, no, but I see like how it, compares to what you said for like define financial data, because you broke those silos, and at the same time, like with Sismo, you're breaking silos of like all the different interactions and wallets that you have that maybe you use for different reasons. So that totally makes sense. But yeah, Fede, if you want to ask something about like more related to the hackathon.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think that these videos could be interesting also for hackers in order to take some ideas, also having some background of the project. And so I would like you to take the perspective of an hacker, for example. So suppose that you're facing Sismo for the very first time and you are asked to like create a product that is workable in 3 days or less, or 2 days actually, depends if you go party or not. And so like I think that what is very cool about Web3 hackathon projects is the composability of the products.
Exactly.
So, as you were saying, like you can create these super crazy apps that connect a lot of things that used to, like they were born in different epochs. And so, like, according to you, what would be the most like important or whatever composable opportunities? So
Exactly.
you mentioned, for example, DeFi. You mentioned like single sign-on services and stuff like that. So what do you do as an hacker? Like which people will you talk?
So as an hacker, maybe I'm a weird one, but like I trust the vibes, So I would take like 1, 2, 3 projects which vibe. I don't know why it feels like they are here for the long term. They are not bullshitting and stuff like that. Yeah, for me it would be like, I know Airstack. We meet at, I don't know if they are part of it, but
No, they're not.
yeah. So, but you can. But basically, I think if you're working in Web3, the goal is not to do a full project on your own. Is more connect the dots between all the builders that we have, and if we ourselves and others they sponsor the hackathons, is like we build in the open source mindset. It requires quite a lot from us because you open everything, but that's where the fun begins for hackathon projects, like how you connect the dots. So for instance, with Sismo, you create some groups and then you can prove that you're part of it. So for instance, you could create a group of your followers on Lens or your followers on Farcaster, and it gives them access, special access, like a anonymous wall where they can do things. And if you manage to connect that also to some other, to some other products, I don't know, but what could they be? I don't know. Who are the sponsors? I could try to.
Oh, there's Gnosis, there's ENS, so you can. I mean, in Paris, we did that with Greg. We used Sismo to prove that you had the ENS.
Yeah, for instance,
Then
you could do
there's
with
yeah.
ENS, you could do, and there might be another project, but for instance, to get a subdomain. So you set up a subdomain for your project, and to get this subdomain, you need to prove that you have my NFT, or that you stake it, or that you have it for more than 1 year. That's something that is cool. Like in Sismo, we create these subdomains. I think we were one of the earliest projects to give that to everybody.
Yeah.
And if it gets back, you'll need to have proof that you have this citadel. We have this group of Sismo community. We have a big group of our, I think, 20K community or maybe more with some levels. And one day when we'll give back again the subdomains, will be ZK proof that you are contributor to Sismo to get your .sismo.eth. So that's, but yeah, it's I think you can have fun.
A lot of stuff. That's why I think it's like I'm really glad that Sismo is coming to ETHRome, because as an hacker, it's easy, like composability and Sismo goes really well together, let's say, and so it's easy to experiment with different things at the same time in the same project. So that's why I also enjoy the experience.
Like if you can think about Sismo very easily, is that I have data somewhere, I have data elsewhere, and I can bring them anywhere. We deployed on 12 chains, I think, counting the testnets. So we are on Base, we are on Optimism, Arbitrum, Scroll, all this. We are on all chains that you can think about. Gnosis, of course, sponsor. So if you think, okay, I want to, Farcaster is sort of off-chain. It's off-chain, right? I want to bring the Farcaster reputation on-chain of Gnosis. Lens, they are on Polygon. I want to bring this on Gnosis chain also. And actually, I want to create a service that is gated to my followers on Twitter and Lens and Farcaster and people that went to my POAPs or stuff like that. You can merge that all into one app and say, okay, to join this service, I don't know, voting or airdrop or I don't know, prove me that you I either follow you on Lens or I either follow you on Farcaster, or that you have an NFT of my DAO, I don't know what, but it's merging the data that is on different blockchains that might be off-chain. And where you get the most out of Sismo is that if you would not do it for privacy reasons. Like for instance, we had a lottery for people that have Gitcoin passport, so very public, and that use Tornado Cash. And so I don't think that you want to link.
Yeah.
So that was quite fun. That was a super value prop. Without Sismo, you can't think about this kind of use case. So yeah, merging data from private wallets with public wallets, that's where you get the most out of it. So yeah, but start with the problem, simple thing. That's simple, fun. You must have fun, and package it well. And normally it's great for a project.
Yeah, maybe
that's
I've
one.
yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Like I might have a weird question. Like so again, taking the perspective of an hacker, like there will be something that you would not recommend actually to push as a project. Like maybe because there was this project that attempted to integrate Sismo in some way and eventually like turned into something that wasn't adding that kind of value, wasn't that original, or at the same time it could be like too ambitious to be pushed like in 3 days or whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah, so I think that one thing that we are not yet where it doesn't work super well is that technically you prove that you are part of a group, and these groups are updated every 24 hours. So um, you must think about more snapshot based kind of things. Like at that time you had this token, like snapshot votes, it's blocked at a number, otherwise you can game the thing, you can buy and sell these things. So make sure not to more think about, since it's private, you can't trace down if the person has been removed of the vote or stuff like that. So it's fixed because you can't you can't track down the wallet. So all things that are too dynamic are less interesting. It's more like, in the past did you do that? So for instance, if you want to prove that you are part of non-DAOs, don't request just that they have a non-NFT, but that they have it for 3 months, or I don't know, these kind of things. And I see a question, like how much time do you think it needed to build a project using Sismo? Actually, it's super simple. Yeah, I can't, but you have the factory, you go to factory.sismo.io, you can easily create a new group. So like today, like with click, you don't have to code, though you could if you want. On the factory, you just say, okay, I want to create a new group that all people that follow me on Lens. I want to create a new group that all people that voted on that snapshot space. I want to create a new group of people that have this NFT. So just create a group that's like literally 10, 15 minutes, a group that is fun. You have also the subdomain owners, for instance. I don't know how you created your group, Limone, but
we use one. We use an existing one just to prove like that it was working, and then you can just simply change groups, and that's it.
Yeah, so it's quite easy. Like you can, so group is easy, and you can also copy paste for the hackathon a list of groups, a list of entities that are in the group. So this is like literally 15 minutes, and then we have boilerplates. It's like yarn creates Sismo Connect, and it sets you up with a backbone of what you need to do. You just need to choose whether you want to verify your proof on chain or off chain, and that's one thing that is important is that you can verify in a contract the ZK proofs, but you can also do it off chain. So these interesting projects are more into like user management. Let's say that last thing, like technical things, but Sismo gives to each app an anonymous user identifier. Because since you don't connect to an app with your wallet, we still give you something to know it's a recurring user. So with Sismo, for instance, you can say, okay, I'm creating a forum, and everybody that proves me that they have 1 token, they can join. Everybody that proves me that they have 2 tokens, they can comment posts. 3, they can create new posts. 4, they can ban people temporarily. 5, so there's these things that is quite interesting also off-chain, is the user management in a privacy way. So moderators that are anonymous or things like that. Anyway, and it's really quick. So you have boilerplates for on-chain, boilerplates for off-chain, and yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking while you were talking about, some use cases and within privacy and within DAOs, like for voting, you made an example about creating something for voting. I was thinking about, we have this hackathon around governance and privacy, and that's also like one of the sponsors is Privacy Scaling Exploration, that they built this thing called Semaphore about secret voting. And I was also thinking about the possibility to use Sismo for something like that, because if, let's say, this is, I don't know if it's possible, maybe you can tell me that, I create an app like for private voting, let's say, and for users that go on the app, I generate a new wallet for them, so that it's some kind of anonymous because it's just created there. I don't know how it can be connected with their identity or not, but then I can, like, thanks to Sismo, maybe I can use this private wallet and connect it to the, I don't know, an existing data vault for a user, so that they can use their credential to vote on a proposal with a wallet that is entirely like new. So we are sure it's kind of like a burner wallet, and that will allow us to have some sort of secret voting. Do you think it's something like feasible?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's totally feasible, and you don't even need to create this new wallet, because I told you that with Sismo you can have this Vault ID, this anonymous user identifier. So like
Okay.
by nature, each ZK proof has a stealth address. Like that's the power of it. Like
Oh, okay.
you don't reveal your source address, but you get access to an identifier, and you know that if the same user that has the same vault comes back to the same app, you will track it. You will know that it's him. So that's quite interesting. And for PSC, just want to say a big shout out to them, because Semaphore and Tornado Cash, that's what I said. It was when I saw, okay, we can do things with ZK. So without them, I'm sure that Sismo would not be there or as quick. So yeah, these are amazing people. So just spend time with them. Is they are in the hackathon, that's a big opportunity. Like they are very very good people.
We will tell them, because the next live stream is with privacy scaling exploration on Tuesday actually. So I will make sure to forward the message. Oh yeah, I see another question from Darf, our designer for ETHRome. So he's asking what technologies, I think we already discussed a little bit about it, but what technologies between the ones partnering and sponsoring with ETHRome do you think much better with Sismo to create interesting hackathon projects? So just to give you a recap, we have Gnosis, ENS, Privacy Scaling Exploration, Waku is like the main sponsors, then there's Sismo, of course, Secret Network as well, and then Talent Layer, Talent Protocol. Let's go on the website, because it started to get like crowded on our sponsors list, fortunately. So we also have Dataverse.
I see that you have Base, Brian.
Oh, Base. Yeah, there's also Base. I forgot about Base. Brian, we are very proud of Brian, because it's a project born in the community, and now they are bringing value back in for the community. So it's wonderful. So in your opinion, difficult, of course. I know, like, to choose the best technologies, but if you could pick one, Adrian, like the best one to build with Sismo, what would you say?
Yeah, depending on the hackers, I would say there's Hopper also.
Hopper, yeah.
This one is for advanced people. But if you think about it, what we do is like the ZK proof itself is privacy preserving, but the way you talk to nodes and things like that, you still give your IP address or these kind of things. So if you want it to be 100%, what we showed that what's with Sismo was permanent is private, and when you do ZK proof on servers, it's private. But still, we can track you down with other things that what is written on chain. We can track you down with nodes, with how you connect to nodes, IP address, and these kind of things. And I think Hopper are working on this, so that's more advanced, I would say. But yeah, basically, all these teams are great. All these teams have data. All these teams are in Web3, so you have this data, so you can generate ZK proof out of it. So make bridges. I don't know. That's,
Yeah. Then that's true. That's true. Fede, do you have any more questions?
No, yeah, I'm totally fine. Like, it was amazing, like having you there, Adrian, because like introducing, like I see this as a very useful public good, like so far, until we develop a revenue model. But like so far, it's something that I like. Personally, I think that a lot of people maybe are taking the invisible trust cost of indeed trusting third-party authorities, and they do it like that because it improves UX, because when I register to a new platform, it's very easy to sign up with Google. And having, of course, presenting the opportunity of doing this kind of stuff, also with heterogeneous matching conditions, because as you said, at this point, also your financial private data get involved into the selective disclosure, right? And so I think that is a super cool opportunity, which is not imposing anything, it's just presenting the alternative of disclosing your data. And I think that is a very important piece of the puzzle in the ownership frame of data that Web3 is bringing to the people. So I think that it's amazing.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah, I think we're almost 1 hour, so it was incredibly insightful chat. I already knew about Sismo, but I hope that you guys in the audience now know more about it and will be keen to build on it. And related to the question from Mr. Psychox, I mean, my experience in Paris was incredible and incredibly fast to integrate Sismo without knowing anything about zero knowledge proof, and how they work behind the scenes. So highly suggested to try it out. At least it's cool even just to experiment during a weekend. But yeah, thank you, Adrian, again. Thank you, Fede, for joining us.
Thank you.
Amazing chat, and Adrian, looking forward to meet you in Rome. And maybe we can spoiler that you will also be one of our guests at Urbe Talks, so our monthly meetup during ETHRome. So yeah, really glad for this collaboration.
Yeah, looking forward to be in Rome. It's going to be exciting. So yeah, can't wait to meet everyone. And yeah.
Amazing.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Have a nice evening. See you on Tuesday with Privacy Scaling Exploration. Bye bye.
Cheers.
Bye, guys. Bye.